No shows suck. You get all this lead from marketing. You are excited to talk to these people, but then all of a sudden they don't show, they ghost you, and you feel like marketing is not doing their job and you are in turn not closing anything. How do we fix that? Today, we're going to give you some ideas. You're going to love this. Absolutely love it. Love it. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be on this episode here with you today. And my guest today is Alisha Conlin-Hurd. Now, here's what I'd like to tell you about Alisha. She runs a 7-figure organization where she helps teams, individuals like you and I, to be able to close more deals. And how does she do it? She helps with the marketing component and make sure that your leads land in your inbox are actually leads that are going to close. So today I want you to come with your marketing ears, and I want you to come with if you're a sales leader, listening to it from this standpoint as well. But as an individual contributor, I want you to listen to it on what you can do to be able to help in that process. Alisha's going to break it down where she shares what should happen before, during, and after the person has booked, and how we can best prepare so that they actually show up for the appointment. It is golden. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, go ahead and subscribe so we can notify you every time we drop a new piece of content. And if you have a long-time listener, first-time caller, go ahead and drop me a message on LinkedIn and let me know about the show that you enjoy. Our goal is to be able to help you to, 1, build pipeline, and 2, help you to accelerate deals throughout the pipe. And today we're going to focus on how you can build pipeline better. Some things she's going to share is radical, so I want you to put on that seatbelt and get ready for it. The other stuff, you just got to apply it. Let's dive in, get a chance to meet Alisha, and see how we can use this. Alisha, welcome to the show.
Hey, Donald. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. No shows a part of the sales process. It happens. I'm sitting here, marketing will give me a bunch of leads, and I think they're all great. And then I felt like they either they ghosted me or whatnot, or in particular, we did this with a partner. They had a ad campaign going with Meta, and they were giving us leads, and we were we were excited for the leads, but then all of a sudden we were getting just a terrible no-show rate, and we were just like, what is going on? And their marketing team was trying to figure it out as well. So I'm excited to hear your insights, because salespeople don't like that. I bragged about you a little bit in the beginning here, but talk to me about why Alisha is so fully qualified for this topic. Because I know you can. This is like you could do this in your sleep, but tell them why.
Yes, and if anyone can't understand me properly, you're not having a stroke. I'm Australian, and just in case most of your listeners are American, I always have to say that because some people are like, "What is this chick saying?" So I'm Aussie, and why am I uniquely qualified to talk about this? Well, I am a marketer technically, but I'm a business owner, right? I run a 7-figure agency, and I do that while I travel the world. And what we specialize in is we specialize in getting booked sales calls for our leads. That's it. Qualified leads who show up. But uniquely, unlike a lot of other marketers, I was in sales before I was in marketing. So after high school, I went and did cold calling, for a big call center, right? And I was very, very good at that. After that, I've done telco and hi-fi sales, and then a lot of agency sales. I've personally closed millions of dollars of agency sales. So what I think that we find a lot when we go in and work with companies is there's a big disconnect with marketing and sales. They're almost working like 2 different divisions, 2 different teams instead of one cohesive system. So I guess to answer your question, why should people keep listening and not tune out now that they know that they're not having a stroke? Well, it's because that I know that the sales process starts in the marketing. And so if you're a salesperson listening, which most people are, I want to give you the tools to be able to have a conversation with your marketing team. You'll be able to talk in their language and tell them potentially what's going wrong. I hope that you can give them this episode so that they can go and implement things. And I want to also tell you guys some cool shit that we're doing in the sales process to help to eliminate no-shows.
Let's go. I got all this notes here, and we're just ready to party. So
right.
Why no-shows? Why did they happen in the first place, Alisha? Is it because they don't like me, my content sucks, or they just forgot and I'm terrible at reminding them?
And so it's like, it could be all of the above, right?
Dang it!
I know, you just suck, man. No, ultimately it's like, okay, why doesn't somebody show up? We haven't built enough value, right? Because if they thought it was going to be valuable, if we had answered enough with them, what's in it for me, they're rocking up to that call, because people rock up to what they care about. So it's a great question. And not a lot of people think here first. It's like, well, why don't people show up? We haven't built enough belief. We haven't built enough authority, and we haven't built enough anticipation and excitement. Because if we had, you better believe that they're showing up. Now, there's a lot of other things like how open your calendar is. There's different psychological hacks in your marketing, but ultimately it just comes down to that. You have not built enough value, anticipation, excitement, so they are not rocking up because they don't care about it.
All right, so that could be the biggest component. So let's talk about, you guys discovered this and you figured out how to best do it, not only with your client stuff, but you've done it yourself. Before we actually get them to come, what can I do to prep or to fix that component, to build this excitement for it?
Yeah, that's a good question. And this is where it comes down to the marketers, right? So there's 3 parts we're going to go through. This first part is the before unit. And if we nail all of this, we get no-shows going up from like 61%. We have clients getting 91%, 80%, 72% minimum. Yeah, on cold ads, on Facebook ads, because we implement these things. Like, and otherwise it's a huge freaking waste of money, right? If we don't have these clients, these like leads showing up. So for me personally, when I'm running ads, we get an 88% show up rate, and that's on, like, I'm whale hunting, so it's on a smaller sample size. But then when we do clients, huge, like, and this is for high ticket. We don't work in local lead gen. This is for like high ticket, big purchases. And as you said, it starts with this before unit. So how, and we're all salespeople, right? So it's like, we know it's about controlling the frame and building the buy-in, and the way that the marketers need to be doing this. And I'm not going to go into this too much because it might bore the sales guys. You can just send people to my YouTube channel, but it's like,
and we'll put a link in the show notes for that too, guys. So
yeah, they're going to start shooting out. They're like, whatever, lady, tell me how to make money. So this is what the marketing team needs to be doing, though. And number one, it's like, what is the landing page, right? So when we think of a landing page, we think of this like your digital appointment setter. So it has to persuade them, educate them, qualify, disqualify, all of these touch points in there. Now, the big way to get conversions high on your landing page is through what I call your offer. But what a big misconception of this is, as salespeople, we're selling the sales offer. But before we can get a sale, we need to get a lead, right? Which means we're selling something. Even though they're not paying for it in money a lot of the time, they're paying for it in energy and their time. So that offer, that lead generation offer, and how we put the value behind that is very important. So usually when we go into companies, their sales teams are giving a lot of value on the calls, setting a lot of frame, a lot of authority, and somebody's learning something from that call, right? A lot of the time, it's not just some like commission breath guy just trying to close it, although it can be, but not with the good companies we work with. They have a very good sales process where there's a lot of value exchanged or whatever. So we just have to figure out what that is and show somebody that they're going to come out of this call with something. They're going to be better off whether they go ahead with you or not, because we know that we need to start placing value on that call and placing value on the time that they're going to work with you. So there's a lot of things that marketers need to do, but effectively it's like authority framing, strong messaging, standing out from the noise, not just showing why we're better, but different through things like unique mechanisms. And then it moves into the second stage, but I'll give you the talking stick back.
Yeah.
That's the very high level marketing.
So give me an example of like that messaging, maybe if a brand or one that you work with, and how did you frame and build authority with the landing page, or just any example? We can make something up, Brandon. If I'm selling a pen or selling, I don't know.
You want me to sell you this pen? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So how do you build authority, right? It depends on the business. And so one way that you can do it is through the founder. Maybe the founder has a proven repeatable system and you want to showcase that. But obviously a really strong way is through social proof and having different social proof. Again, if you want to send this to your marketing teams, I have all videos on how to do this on my YouTube, but it's that. And it's like, we have to start instilling the belief in people that you can achieve the dream outcome that we want. Because when it comes to the marketing and it comes to the sales, none of us are selling a product or a service, right? We're selling the dream outcome.
Yes.
And the more that we can pre-frame somebody in the marketing to care about that, the easier it is. Like sales should be superfluous, so unnecessary. If you're feeling like you have to hardcore close, then your marketers aren't doing a strong enough job. Because really what should be happening is the frame should be controlled in the marketing, and then we should have like people applying to work with us, right? And it can all be shifted from the messaging and from the vibe of the sales copy and the offer that we have on the page.
Love that. All right. So marketing's helping. They're helping to build our authority in preparation for this. Go into the second phase now. Let's do that one.
Yeah. So then there's before. We've just spoken about everything that happens before they become a lead, right? To help stop no-shows. The second phase is what I would call during. Okay, what are the touch points during becoming a lead? So for us, we work in book a call funnels. That's like what we're talking about here, right? So what happens is they're on that landing page, they click yes, apply, or whatever is the offer. They've clicked the button to take up the offer. Then what happens next is very, very important. So what we need to do in this during phase is, number one, send them through a series of questions that will not just qualify, but disqualify them. Now, this is where the big disconnect happens with marketing and sales, right? Marketing thinks their job is to get leads, but their job is to get qualified leads who turn into buyers, right? It's very easy for me to get you a cheap CPL. I can flood your inbox with leads. No one wants that. We want people who are excited and ready, who actually want to purchase. So on the landing page, they click the button, they go through a series of questions. Those form questions, they're predominantly there to, one, resell them psychologically. How long have you been dealing with this issue? How much money have you, it depends if it's B2C or B2B, but how much money have you spent to try and solve this? What have you already tried? Blah, blah, blah. Tick this box if you're actually committed to solving this problem in the next 3 months. Like all of this stuff that's going to indicate to us that we've got a strong lead. And then if people are clicking things that are undesirable, we should be DQing them and either like downselling them to a product or sending them to keep on like nurturing through like some information or something. But we have to protect the closer's time. That's the most important job of us as marketers. We have to protect the closer's time. And so for us with this funnel, it pretty much eliminates the need for appointment setters, right? So that reclaims for a company $50K, $100K, $200K, whatever you're paying your setters, because the marketing for this specific funnel should be able to do it. We still use setters maybe in like organic where they'll work the DMs. Even then, they're pretty much all replaced by AI. Like AI has come a long way in the last 6 months. Appointment setters are going to really start struggling. Okay, so that's the first thing is having that DQ qualification, pre-selling into the brain, the questions. Then once they go through that, if they are qualified, they land on a calendar page to book in. Typically what we see is 40 to 80% of people will book in to the calendar page. But the way that we set up our calendar page is very important. So there's just a simple calendar page, a very clear headline saying the value, just reiterating the value of what you're going to get. You don't let the calendar page be open. Some people say 48 hours. I usually start at like 3 to 5 business days, depending on whether it's B2B or B2C. Because we had another client, they were getting all of these book calls, but people were booking for like 10 days in advance.
Yes, and they forget that, right?
Yes,
or it's just out of their mind. It's too.
Because the delay is the death of the sale, right? As soon as we lose that momentum, boom, like they don't freaking remember you, especially not from ads. So we just you need to make sure you have to balance it where you don't look too available, right? But you have to make sure that there's always enough slots open, but maybe you have like 3 days in advance. Because if they're serious, they're going to jump on a call.
Of course, at that point.
So there's,
No, so when it comes to the disqualification, are you using tools like Typeform at that point, or is that on a landing page where you're getting them to disqualify themselves?
Yeah, so it just depends on whatever your tech stack is, right? For us, we use Go High Level, so we use the form builder within Go High Level, and then you can set up the logic that if somebody answers blah, they go to the DQ page, the disqualify page. I think like a paid version of Typeform does that. Whatever form builder you're using should just be able to do that. And the way that we come up with those questions is we work with the sales team and the business owner or whoever, and we say, okay, for marketing to know that we're doing our job right, what are the 3 to 5 things that we can both agree in black and white means that I've delivered you a qualified lead? And it usually is around some sort of income, some sort of speed, like when are you ready to get started? And then some other things, right? So then we just reverse engineer those questions. But for me personally, as an agency, we don't take on any businesses doing under $1 million in revenue. So that's one of my questions.
Yeah.
What are you doing in revenue? Under $1 million, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 plus, whatever, right? If you're under $1 million, automatically DQ'd. You can't take up a sacred spot in my calendar.
Yeah. Why give that away?
Yeah. Why give it away when somebody else is going to be looking at it and it's gone?
Okay. So cool. So now we're disqualifying people that don't necessarily fit. We're during that stage, we're getting them another question I had. You said, just on a hypothetical situation, let's say I have generally 100 people that sign up through the Meta ad. That comes to the first part, right? And then they get into the DQ phase, because I know some of the marketers and some of the sellers here, some of them feel like, well, if I just get them on the phone, I can close it. But I really want to express what you shared. Like, not everybody is going to be ready to close. And I think I did a speech on this, a talk at a sales conference, that you don't sell to everyone. It's only the people that can buy from you. But what percentage of those people make it from a general, again, my Facebook ad, they clicked on it, in the DQ process, what percentage is a good percent of disqualified? I don't know if I'm making sense there.
So how many, like, out of every 10 people who might fill in that application form, we'll call it, how many get to see the calendar page?
Yeah.
Yes. So that depends on how good your ads are. Because,
gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? And
these
are all little touch points that we can fix. So if I'm looking at a funnel and I've got I'll say what the benchmarks are in a second, and I can see that
Sure.
1 in 2 people are getting DQ'd. Well, that's annoying, because that still means that my cost per lead, like I had to pay for that person to come.
Yeah. That's what got my attention.
Yeah, which is a pain in the ass, and I like making money. So it's like, okay, well, how do I tweak all these things, right? So then what do we do? Well, if you're a good marketer and you're running ads, you should have your tracking set up correctly, where you can see which ad is bringing in the DQs, and you turn that bad boy off, like, because it's bringing in DQs. So what happens is, if you're a marketer that's like attuned to the sales process and you understand lead gen, then what I would do is, okay, why is 50% getting DQ'd? This is too high for us. I'm going to go look at this. I go see the ad, and the ad has a messaging about money or something, scarcity, I don't know. And it's like, cool, that's the wrong messaging. We need to turn that off, and we need to double down on this messaging instead.
All right. So we're fine-tuning messaging. We're getting things organized in that sense. We're getting the right setup from the very jump. But this gives us at least an idea of what might happen. The exact benchmark, you mind sharing what you said again for that?
Yep. So throughout your funnel, ads, you'll have your own benchmarks. Ultimately, your North Star metric should be ROI. What is the ROI of this? And not CPL. And a lot of marketers get upset when I say that. But cost per lead, it's like, it's not the most important thing, right? Because if you optimize for that metric, you can be optimizing for shitty leads.
Yeah.
And so what I see is, like, and I've literally been behind the scenes of, like, I don't know, it's like nearly 1,000 businesses. It's like, okay, the market is like, yeah, but look how cheap our CPL is. Or the agency, look how cheap our CPL is. And the sales team is saying, yeah, but I don't give a shit. I can't close these leads.
Yeah.
So it's like all of these touch points we want to fix. So there's the ad metrics, but then when we go through the funnel, ideally your landing page, again, it depends how hardcore we're qualifying, but let's just say it should be converting at 7 to 15%. Anything over 20% would be crazy. But again, we don't even want to try and get the most conversions on the landing page. We want the right people, you know? So like a lot of people are like, oh, why can't we make the landing page convert more? It's like, because it's doing its job. It's DQing people by the messaging. Like, we're getting people going. Okay, yeah. So that's the landing page. Then as people go through the form, that's how many people, like 10 to 20% will fill in the form. I don't have benchmarks for like how many people should be qualified or not qualified. Basically, with every client, we just set a new benchmark, and then we're trying to beat it all of the time. For example, because I DQ really hard in my funnel, that's 50% of them DQ. So like we're actively working on bringing that down, because that's a lot of wasted ad spend, bringing in companies that are too small to work with us. So like I want to bring that down.
Love
Then
it.
out of the people who can see the calendar, what we usually see is 40 to 80% will book in. You want to keep increasing over time, but you don't always get there straight away. It's about optimizing. And then again, the next touch point then is the show up rate. So we typically see 70 to 90% as a show up rate. And these are the metrics. Then on cold, I would ideally see a sales team closing at 20 to 30%. But most of them struggle unless they're actually good closers.
And if you're at around that 30, that's not bad. You're doing all right at that point.
That's like the minimum to make these economics stack up. Like ideally you're doing, if I'm giving you a qualified lead, obviously like if you're getting a bunch of shit leads, it's going to be different. But if you and I agreed this is a good lead and you can't close more than 3 out of 10 who show up, I mean, dude, like this person told me they're ready now. This person told me they've tried to solve the problem before. It's like, you've got to look within yourself.
You got to
and increase your close rate.
Seller, maybe you get a better job, a different job, man. Maybe the same for you. All right. So what can I do at the very end then? So that's the final phase to make sure to get the show up rate.
Exactly. So we've done before, during, and now it's after. They've booked it in. Now, how do we make sure they show up? Because there's still that time between when they book and when they show up. In a perfect world, we've got that within a 3-day period, right? It's like they're either tomorrow, the next day, or the following day, but they're sometime this week. Now, this is where both marketing and sales have jobs to do. For marketing, there's 3 things that we can do. The first is the thank you page, right? So they book in for the call, then what? Each little touch point is a chance for us to set the frame, to build authority, and to start obliterating objections somewhat. So on that thank you page, funnily enough, you never say thank you. I probably need a new word for it because it stuffs up the frame, right? Then it's like, it sounds like they've done something for us, but they've done something for themselves. So anyway, I got a video on this, believe it or not, but it's just like, we congratulate them. We future pace them. It's like, congratulations, you're one step closer to hitting this dream outcome. You're going to be talking to one of our whatever strategists, don't call them salespeople, like lifestyle strategists. And on the call, they're going to be taking you through this. Here's what I need you to do next. So we congratulate, we future pace, we tell them what's happening next, and then we get them to take another action step, because the best time to get somebody to do an action is when they just did one, right?
Yes.
So what might that look like? Make sure they get it on their calendar. Get them to watch video testimonials. Ideally, like we write scripts for our clients for the thank you page where it's like, hey, like we're so excited to talk to you. Set expectations. Start to train them now with what you'll tolerate. Start to like hold the frame and the authority now, right? Tell them like, hey, if you don't show up to this call, you are not rebooking in. Like you've made a commitment to us and to yourself. We have limited spots for this. And like, and I think some people are a bit scared to like set that up. Otherwise, they're just going to come in and walk all over you, right? Like we've all been on sales calls for companies where they don't set any of that up. And we have to work so hard to try and get frame and authority on the call when it should have already been set up for us in the marketing phase. So that's the thank you page. Any questions on that before I go on to
This is great. This is great. Keep going.
Good. All right. Good encouragement. I'll keep going. So then the other thing is on the marketing side, we have to set up email and SMS automations. Mm-hmm. Now, and like through AI and stuff, there's like a whole thing. But the main thing is it's what I call the pre-sway flow. So if you use something like Calendly, usually people might have like the basic bitch version of that set up, right? Like, hey, Donald, your appointment is on this date, like boring. So we don't want to send too much and we don't want to overwhelm them, but we do ask the sales team, okay, what sort of questions are you getting? Like how could what's triggering them on the calls? What excites them on the calls? And how can we soften them before they come to you? Usually that's sending them some sort of video testimonials or other information about the company that's going to get them excited and ultimately just start to build the proof that you get the result that you say you're going to get. So you're still reminding them, but it's like, hey, as a reminder, just watch this as well and see how we took Amanda from 0 to 500K in 8 months. Amanda's kind of like you, go watch this.
Yeah.
Now, the other really cool thing we can do as marketers, and this kind of starts to bleed into like what the sales team needs to do, because sorry, sales team, you have to do some work here. And
Dang it.
and manually do stuff, because everyone wants to automate everything, but these little manual things are going to be the things that like make the sale insanely easy.
Sure.
So we know delay is the death of the sale. For the companies that we work with where the closes aren't packed out, like back to back crazy, like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 30-minute slots, just totally gone. What we'll do is something called an auto call connect. So Donald, you've just gone in, you've booked in, and then in Go High Level, we set it up where as soon as that lead books in, we connect you to that call. We do a whisper message where it's like, hey, here's the information you need to know about this client. And then you're like, okay, hi, Amanda, I saw that you just booked in. Either what you can do is just a really quick 5-minute get to know you, or alternatively, you can say, hey, I just had an appointment free up. Do you want to take it now? Like, I know you booked for 2 days time, but I just had an appointment free up. Like, would you like to take that call now? Yes. Momentum. let's get this, right? How much better is that? And Amanda's like, oh, holy shit. Yeah, like I am still
I'm special. This is great.
Yeah, I'm special. It's like, and that will increase close rates dramatically. Again, can be different for B2B, B2C. It depends on the business constraints, whatever. But that's a great way. Now, in any case, I would encourage the closers to call straight away and then just like get them on the phone and make contact. For some of the teams, the closers are like jam-packed. Like these are like big companies. The closers, like every single minute is jam-packed. So alternatively, what you can do is like grab your phone and just send really quick selfie messages to people. Videos, 10 seconds, 15, 30, whatever. Hey, Amanda, like for me as an agency, I was just checking out your landing page. See, here it is. I'm just checking out your landing page. I'm pumped for our call. We're going to be going over this, this, and this. Just reply to this message and let me know that you're coming. And then that's it. Like we're always looking for the confirmation. So that's what the sales team can do. That's end of monologue. There's other stuff, but it might go too long.
They got to pay for it. All right. Well, this is great. Yes. This is great. And I think it gives us a good setup. I think any salesperson who's listening to this can take this back home to mom and dad, so to speak, and say, marketing team, sales leader, we need to shape something up. We can do a better job. Mm-hmm. And I think any leader that's listened to this, the concepts are applicable no matter their business, how they can apply it. And some of the things that I took away from it is, don't overlook what may be norm for others. So let me give you an example, a small thing like the thank you page, not saying thank you because this is for them. Everyone is going to have thank you page or thank you text messages. Everyone sends text message, but your text message go a little bit bigger, a higher level where we're giving them, keeping them in the loop, getting them excited and building up urgency with, open spots. And then also like even from the very, very beginning, the authority building. And anyone could say that we've been around for so long, but the testimonials components or just helping to build up that FOMO that I don't want to miss this, that these guys are the perfect one for my industry works great. And oftentimes I find that folks try to do the wide, want to get as much as possible, but not necessarily going to CPL, cost per lead, but go for the ROI. What's going to give me the best ROI? And that's a tighter funnel, so to speak, that can help me get better results. I mean, there's so many gems that came out of this episode, but if you were to wrap it up in one major, one sentence or one major thought, what would be that one biggest thought you want folks to leave with?
I would just say that you don't want leads. That's not the goal, but everyone thinks they need more leads, right? We need to do more with the leads we already have, and we actually want qualified leads who turn into buyers. So you have to think about what are you optimizing for? Because if you optimize for leads, you're going to just constantly be like snowing your sales team under with shitty leads and being inefficient. Marketing and business is really just a game of psychology, economics, technology. And if you go back and you audit psychology, economics, technology, and you unlock these things properly, you'll have this is like why most businesses fail. They cannot figure out how to create a profitable, predictable way to acquire customers at scale. Do you know what I mean? Like that's why they
100%
fail. Obscurity, and they can't figure that out. So once you figure this out and you implement these things and you be deliberate with them, it's worth taking the time or hiring me. That's what I would say. Either figure it out, go watch my YouTube, or like hire someone who knows how to do it and like just get it done fast.
And I love that idea. So I'm going to put your stuff in the show notes, Alisha, so folks can get connected with you and go through that process. Why reinvent the wheel when somebody's here that can do that for them? So love it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Folks want to get in touch with you. What's the best way for them to do so? Is there a text, landing page? platform.
Imagine if I had a better landing page offer ready for this. But the main way is just to slide on into my DMs. So if you want to DIY it and learn more, head to my YouTube. I literally I break it all down, how we're making our clients money, how we're doing it in our agency. It's very important for me to give back to like the community and the magic of marketing, right? So you can go watch it there. Otherwise, if you are like, hey, this sounds interesting and I think we might be a good fit, just hit me up on LinkedIn or Instagram. I run all of my channels, as in like I look after my messages. So I'll be able to help you figure out whether we're a good fit or point you in the right direction.
Love it. Alisha, thanks so much for coming on the show today. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Alisha Conlin-Hurd, and you heard it here, man. She brought some really, really good insights. Go ahead and connect with Alisha. Find her on LinkedIn. Tell her you heard about her here on the Sales Evangelist podcast, and just apply the stuff, because I know once you do, you'll see amazing result. Like any of the piece of content we share, it is about you applying it. And the coolest part about all of this is that we can help you. If you want to get into our mastermind and to be able to improve your sales game, go to thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. I won't take up much more of your time. Go apply this stuff and tell me how you like it, or share it with your sales leaders. As always, I want you to raise your level of thinking, and I want you to go out and do big things. See you on the next one.